Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating, an ancient Indian text with a really unique structure. It's called the Prashnopanishad, which literally means the Upanishad of Questions.
And that, right there, is the central idea. This text frames the ultimate search for truth not as someone giving a long lecture, but as a dynamic, back-and-forth conversation, a real journey of inquiry. So, let's start that journey.
You see, the entire text is built around 6 seekers, 6 students, who pose these huge, fundamental questions about existence to a master sage named Pippalada. It's this incredibly structured, systematic exploration of reality, all the way from the cosmos down to the nature of our own self.
But here's the catch. Before a single question can even be asked, let alone answered, there's a pretty serious period of preparation. Turns out, the path to true wisdom has a few prerequisites.
So picture this. These 6 students, who are already super devoted to finding the ultimate truth, they approach the sage. And they arrive with fuel in hand, which is this great symbolic gesture. It shows they're ready to serve, and more importantly, they're ready to have their own ignorance burned away by the fire of knowledge.
But Pippalada doesn't just start teaching. Not at all. He tells them, look, live with me for 1 full year. A whole year of self-discipline, of conserving their energy, and of maintaining this deep psychological openness. The point here is huge. You can't just passively receive this kind of knowledge. You have to first become a worthy vessel for it.
Okay, so the year is finally up. The students have proven themselves, and now the questions begin. The inquiry starts at the absolute largest scale you can imagine, the creation of the universe. And then it's going to zoom right into the life force that keeps our own bodies ticking.
So the first seeker, Kabandi, steps up and asks what might be the biggest question of all. Where does everything come from? What's the origin of the whole universe and every single being in it?
And Pippalada's answer is just beautiful. He explains that creation began when a cosmic consciousness decided to create, and from that desire, it generated a primordial pair, prana, which is pure energy, and raya, which is matter. He describes it like this cosmic dance between the active eater and the passive food, like the sun and the moon. Everything, and I mean everything in existence, is just a combination of these two.
So the second question brings the focus way down from the huge macrocosm right into the microcosm of the human body. The question is basically, what holds us together? Of all the things our body does, which function, which power is the most important one?
Pippalada answers this one with a story, an allegory. Imagine all the parts of your body, the elements, your sight, your hearing, your mind. They all start bragging. Each one is saying, hey, I'm the one supporting this whole operation. I'm the boss. But then, prana, that underlying life force, just quietly says, don't be so deluded.
And to prove its point, prana just pretends to start leaving the body, and instantly all the other senses are dragged out with it, completely powerless. Then, as prana settles back in, they all settle back in with it, just like worker bees helplessly following their queen. In that moment, they get it. Prana isn't just one of them, it's the very foundation of their existence.
Okay, so prana is supreme. We get it. The third question then is the logical next step. What is this life force really? Where does it come from? How does it operate inside of us? And where does it go? This is where we get the technical deep dive.
And the answer here is so profound. Prana, it turns out, is not the ultimate reality itself. It's actually born from the Atman, the true, deep inner self. And the analogy they use is perfect. It's like a shadow cast by a person. A shadow is totally real, you can see it, but it has no existence of its own, separate from the person casting it. The same goes for the life force and the self. Now, this life force isn't just one single thing. It's incredibly sophisticated. It splits itself into 5 specialized currents, called vayus, and each one governs a different part of the body. You've got prana in the upper body, handling perception. Apana is down in the lower body, managing elimination. Samana is in the middle, around the navel, and it controls digestion. Vyana is like the circulatory system for this energy, spreading it everywhere. And then there's Udana, up in the throat, which governs upward energy and, crucially, guides the soul when it's time to leave the body.
So we've gone from the physics of the life force, and now we're about to journey even deeper, right into the nature of consciousness itself. What is actually going on when we sleep, when we dream, or when we meditate.
This fourth question is just a psychological masterpiece. I mean, think about it. When you're asleep, what part of you is actually sleeping? What part of you stays awake? And who is the God, the entity that is experiencing your dreams?
The sage answers this with an absolutely incredible metaphor, an ancient fire sacrifice. He says that even when our senses go offline for the night, our internal prana fires keep burning. Sleep isn't just a shutdown, it's an internal ritual where the body's vital forces are still doing their work. And in this state, the mind, acting as the one making the sacrifice, can actually experience this temporary union with pure consciousness.
And this brings us to the really practical part. The fifth question is basically asking, okay, with all this knowledge, what's the method? What's the how-to? What actually happens if someone dedicates their life to meditating on the sacred syllable Om?
The answer reveals that Om is like a vehicle that can take you to different destinations. If you meditate on just the first sound, Ah, it leads to a noble rebirth right here on Earth. If you focus on Ah plus U, it takes you to celestial realms, though you eventually come back. But if you meditate on the complete sound, Ah, U, M, that is said to lead to the solar world, freeing you from limitations and ultimately leading to total liberation.
We've journeyed from the cosmos to the body, into the mind, and we've talked about the method. And now we finally arrive at the last, ultimate question.
The final seeker asks about the Purusha, the ultimate being, the source of it all. The text describes this being as having 16 parts, which is really just a symbolic number representing all the different components of the universe that we experience. And the question is simple: where can we find this fundamental reality?
And this is the culmination of the entire dialogue. After exploring the vastness of the cosmos and the intricacies of the mind, you'd think the answer would be somewhere out there, in some remote heaven or a far-off dimension.
But the sage's answer is radically, shockingly immediate. That ultimate source, the ground of all being, is right here, inside your own body. The entire universe, all 16 of its parts, they all originate from this inner center. To explain what happens when you realize this, Pippalada gives one of the most beautiful metaphors in all of philosophy. He says the 16 parts of our individual self, our identity, our mind, our life force, are like rivers, each flowing with its own name and its own form. But when they finally reach their source, the ocean of Purusha, they merge. Their names and forms completely dissolve, and they are simply called the ocean.
And so the text leaves us right there with this final inquiry, basically turning all 6 reading questions back onto us, the reader. It's a powerful thought to end on, really prompting us to consider the true nature of our own identity and its ultimate destination.